Charles Oliveira versus Max Holloway just got leaked at UFC 324 for the BMF Championship. In this video, I'm going to cover where the report came from and validate its source, as well as give an early breakdown and prediction for this fight, so make sure you stay tuned to the end. Because as you guys know from my previous videos, all these predictions are hitting. These are banger videos, all of them are accurate, and thank you guys for blowing up the channel. The recent support has been amazing. We are on the road to 1,400 subscribers, so every subscribe matters. And if you subscribe and join the community now, when we blow up next year, you get to look back and be like, dang, I was a day one member. But anyways, let's get right into this video, and where this news came from, it was from UFC's official Brazil Twitter account, and they tweeted out the official announcement for Charles Oliveira versus Max Holloway. And because it is from UFC's official account, even though they tweet and deleted it, yes, this tweet has now been deleted, but there are screenshots of it online. You will see in the one in the video I've already popped up on the screen for you. But since it is from UFC's official account, it's not some reporter, it's not some inside source, it is UFC. We know that this is an official fight. The UFC wouldn't do this for an unofficial fight that has not been signed yet. So now that we got that out of the way, let's get right into this breakdown and prediction. So first, let's look at Charles Oliveira last 3 fights. We know 3 fights ago that he beat Michael Chandler. He just dominated him for 4.5 rounds at UFC 309 until Michael Chandler started cheating with all these back of the head shots and illegal moves. But nonetheless, Charles dominated him. Then at UFC 317, he lost to Ilia Topuria. And I know it was an early knockout, but if you really watch past that fight, I mean, he had a heel hook in. He was looking big and strong and looking really good against Ilia. He just walked into hook range and got absolutely clipped by the matador himself. We just made a video on Ilia Topuria and where he is, so you can go check that video out now. But shocking news about him and the UFC, you can see that video after this one. But then Charles Oliveira's next fight, he was facing Mateusz Gamrot on short notice. This was a bad fight for Charles. A very hard matchup. A lot of people were predicting him to lose. The majority of people were predicting him to lose. Nonetheless, he goes into that fight, absolutely dominates Gamrot in wrestling. And Gamrot's an all-time great wrestler in the UFC. And it was just a very impressive comeback performance that assured all of us Charles Oliveira is still in his prime, even though it might be later stage prime. He's still in there, just like Volk is. Now looking at Max Holloway, 3 fights ago, he knocked out Justin Gaethje at UFC 300. An absolutely amazing fight. You guys don't forget it. I don't forget it. One of the best knockouts we've ever seen. And then his next fight, similar to Charles Oliveira, he got knocked out by Ilia Topuria. You just can't ding these guys too much. Ilia's on a literal GOAT run right now. It's pretty amazing what he's doing in the UFC. And then in his next fight, he moved up to 155 and beat Dustin Poirier in very impressive fashion. It was a decision win, but he was the better striker throughout the majority of the fight and looked very, very impressive against the still good Dustin Poirier in his retirement fight. So yes, both of them are coming off a very impressive win, and before that, they both got knocked out by Ilia. So pretty much same spots here. They're ranked 2 and 3 in the lightweight division as far as contenders go. So this is a great fight, and you could likely expect the next one to get a title shot after this win. We know that there's Justin Gaethje versus Paddy Pimblett, which I will have a video about next week, which you guys should subscribe to see because that will be a great video. And we also know there's Arman Tsarukyan in the hunt, who just dominated Dan Hooker in UFC Qatar. So we have a lot of stuff in the lightweight division, but rest assured these guys are 2 legends, and whoever wins this fight will be getting a title shot. We just don't know when in the order it will be, but they definitely will be getting their shot. Now, these wins were different. Charles' most recent win was a dominant wrestling and grappling exchange over Mateusz Gamrot, who's a very good MMA wrestler and grappler himself. And Max Holloway's win was a very dominant striking performance over Dustin Poirier, who is a very, very good striker, as you guys know himself. So these last 2 wins were very impressive, but both in different areas. And that really perfectly symbolizes what this fight comes down to. It is a great striker versus a great grappler, but it isn't strictly that. It's not your only wrestling guy versus only striking guy like with Khabib versus Conor McGregor. No, Charles Oliveira is a great striker, and Max Holloway himself has great takedown defense, isn't in a scrub in the wrestling either. He does not get submitted very often. He's a very good fighter himself. So while Charles is definitely the better grappler and better wrestler here, he has great standing game. I mean, he has multiple knockouts in his UFC career and a lot of power. He rocks guys all the time. I mean, he's dropped Michael Chandler, he's wrecked Gaethje and Poirier. Like, this guy is a great striker. And Max Holloway himself, he's faced these all-time greats. He's been around forever. And if he was just a striker, he would have not gotten to the level he is. But his takedown defense is very good. He faces guys who are good wrestlers, good at submissions, and he does not get finished by them. So this is a very high-level matchup here and a really, really good matchup. This will be for the BMF BMF title, and it will be 5 rounds. And as far as the announcement goes, it is on UFC 324, which is the first card of the Paramount era, and this will be the feature fight. So this will be the third to last fight. And then the second to last fight is Amanda Nunes versus Kayla Harrison. And the main event, Justin Gaethje versus Paddy Pimblett. Again, we have a video covering that fight, giving a great breakdown next week. And we'll have our final prediction there. So make sure you stay tuned to that video so that you don't miss out on that one, because it will be a great video and a lot of news, because the winner of that is interim champion, which is crazy in that picture itself. Now, sitting here today, November 29th, 2025, my extremely early prediction for this fight after the news of Charles Oliveira versus Max Holloway. It is hard to give you guys a prediction. I will give you guys one, but I'm just saying up front, there is a lot of film I'm still going to watch, and I still have to let all my thoughts and opinions settle, because this honestly is a great matchup. Like, you have two great fighters. They did fight before, and this fight goes down in 2026. At that time, 11 years ago, in 2015, these two fought. Very few of you will know this, but some of you will. And Charles Oliveira suffered a slight esophagus tear very early into the first round, like 30 seconds into the fight, so they had to call the fight off. It was ruled a TKO win for Max Holloway. But it wasn't really a fight. Charles Oliveira was carried out on a stretcher, had to go to the hospital to get it repaired, and this was way before either of their primes. So two of these guys, maybe in the later half of their prime, but still in their prime. This is a very good matchup that we should all be stoked to see. I mean, I know they're all fan favorites, and a lot of you guys like myself are probably fans of both fighters, so we'll be sad seeing one of them lose and potentially get knocked out. But this is just a great matchup between two legends that you don't get to see very often in the UFC when they do miss out on these big matchups. So it is very good that we get to see this one coming to fruition. Now, getting into this prediction. Of course, I think Max Holloway does have an advantage on the ground, where Charles has an advantage in the grappling and wrestling. However, will this takedown threat and submission threat from Charles Oliveira help boost his standing game as it normally does? That remains to be seen. I will tell you guys right now that if Charles Oliveira can get Max Holloway down on the canvas pretty easily, I do think he wins this fight, because if that happens over and over again, I think he will either win by submission, because Max Holloway is not going to get a dominant position and a finish on Charles on the ground. Charles is way too good of a grappler to do that. He has the most submission wins in UFC history. So if it goes to the ground or consistently goes to the ground, I think Charles Oliveira will get the win here. And I give Max Holloway about a 1% chance if this goes to the ground every single round. I'll give him a 1 to 5% chance to win this fight. But if it stays standing, I give Max Holloway the advantage to win, but only about a 65 to 70% chance. If Max Holloway could stuff all these takedowns to keep it standing, that will give him the advantage with Charles Oliveira. He has good power. He rocks people, although I'm telling you, Max will have a speed advantage, a little bit of a speed advantage. Charles isn't slow, but Max is quick with his striking. Max might have a slight power advantage, but I think it is pretty close on the power. I will give the advantage to Max. But where it really comes into play is Charles Oliveira has shown throughout history to be chinny. Charles has gotten chinned multiple times in his UFC career, and Max Holloway literally never has gotten chinned except once in the Ilia Topuria fight. But as we see with Ilia's career, he chins everyone, and Max came back against Poirier, didn't get chinned, didn't get knocked out. So we know that Max's chin is still good. And over 5 rounds, as this fight will be 5 rounds, I think Max is going to accumulate volume strikes on Charles Oliveira and get him knocked out if it stays on the feet. But that is my very early prediction for the fight. I know it seems like the way I broke down those percentages, I would vote Charles Oliveira to win, but I do think this fight will play out that Charles will not be able to get takedowns at will. Maybe he'll get 1 or 2. I do think Max stuffs most of them, and then Max eventually will get a late, maybe around 3, 4, or 5 knockout or win by decision. I do think it goes that way. Unfortunately, I mean, you guys know I'm a huge Charles Oliveira fan, but that's just my gut feeling I have going into this one. Max Holloway's a little bit younger, a little bit more in his prime, and looks a little bit quicker right now. But I mean, Charles looked great against Mateus Gamrot, so who knows? Maybe Charles is just going to go out here and dominate Max Holloway. You guys let me know down below. How do you think this fight goes, and how do you feel about this news? But with that being said, I will see you guys later this week in the next video. Make sure to hit like, hit subscribe. Those help out a lot in the algorithm. Deuces.